Namaskar. Welcome to this session on our wish versus nature's wish in the series Bhagavad Gita in daily life. So several times in our life, we have situations where we try to enforce our wish, whereas the situation or the circumstances demands us to do something else or take some other decision. But sometimes we try to enforce ourselves, and that creates a struggle, that creates a duel, that creates a lot of friction, and out of which creates a pain, miseries, misunderstandings, a lot of relationships get spoiled, and all these problems do occur. So let's understand what Shri Krishna tells us in Bhagavad Gita. What should we do, our wish versus the nature's wish? So in enforcing our point of view, the biggest problem is the ego. And this is the requirement to destroy any relationship, because we try to do something in our way, the other person wants to do it in their way, and then there is a friction, and then people keep trying to, fight with this rather than finding a way around it, and that creates a problem. But a bigger person or a better person is the person who is able to skip the E and let it go, because ultimately if we let go, then only there is a solution to many of our problems in day-to-day life. We try to, grab, aspire, acquire, and this is what, or try to force our way, and that is what creates problems. So in the first adhyaya, where Arjuna, when he sees all this, the Duryodhana sees all the different armies on both the sides, the Kaurava as well as the Pandava army, is describing this to Dronacharya, and his statements show that what is the kind of his psyche, what is his personality. He's an egoistic person, he's a lot of pride. He says here that a lot of these great warriors who have come in my army, Madarthe Tyakta Jivita, they are all willing to give up their life for me. He shows that I'm so important, I'm so mighty, and that shows his pride and his selfish behavior. And they have all the different types of weapons. They are all expert in the yuddha and warfare. And then he compares two armies, and here also it shows his overconfidence for his army when he says that our unlimited army, aparyaptam, army is guarded by Bhishma, whereas in the Pandavas group, their limited army, their paryaptam, is guarded by Bhima. He's saying, and this also shows that he's worried, he's afraid of Bhima, because Bhima, though he is not the commander, he talks about Bhima. And then if you see the Arjuna, the other side, the Pandava side, Arjuna also, when he comes to the battlefield, is all prepared, waging to go for the war. He's ready for the war, and it shows here that he wants to see all the sons of Dhritarashtra, his opponents, Kaurava army, before he starts the yuddha. While the war is about to begin, he lifts his bow and arrow, signaling that the war has already started. The shankha and all these the conches have been blown. The war is already started, and Arjuna tells Krishna to take the chariot to the center of the battlefield, because he says, I want to see all this. He tells Krishna that take the chariot to the center of my both armies and be steady there. I want to see with whom I'm going to fight. That also shows that Arjuna also comes with a lot of confidence. He wants to fight the battle. He's ready to fight the battle. But what happens is something different. U-turn happens in the situation. Krishna tells Arjuna, oh Arjuna, you please see all this, or your opponent army who is led in the front by Bhishma, Drona and all the kings, and all those who have come, see all these Kurus. He says, Pashyan, Kurun Pashya. And Shri Krishna tells him to see the Kurus, the Kauravas, your brothers, your brethren, your cousins. All this if you see, and with this, Arjuna then develops attachment. He becomes he does not now want to fight the war. Finally, in the last shloka of the first adhyaya, he decides against the war. He sits down, goes back and sits down on the backside of the chariot, and he puts down his bow and arrow, his gandiv. He puts it down, and he says, I don't want to fight this war. His mind is filled with a lot of sorrow, despair, pain, miseries, and that's why it is called the Arjuna Vishada Yoga, the first adhyaya of Sri Bhagavad Gita. In the second adhyaya, Bhagavan starts giving the solution to the problems, but before that, the first shloka when Bhagavan talks to Arjuna, he tells him that Arjuna, this attitude of yours is not proper. Several times in our life, this situation comes where we don't act properly. Somebody tells us that we are not acting properly, then also we rebuke that person. What do you mean I'm not talking properly? So that's how our attitude is. But here, Bhagavan is telling Arjuna that you are getting this despair which is out of ignorance. And at this time, in the battlefield, where you don't need to be upset here, you have to be confident, you have to fight this war. It does not befit you like an Arya, and it will not let you go to heaven as well, Aswargam. He says, and it will not add to your fame. It is akirtikaram. And that's why you should let go of all these weak-minded emotions. Nature does warn us to keep us on the track. Many a times, it is up to us to, find out the right solution from the given situation. And sometimes, nature has to use some harsh words. Here, Bhagavan also uses some harsh words to order Arjuna to fight this war. He says, Klaibhyam masmagama partha. Don't be unmanly, O Arjuna. He says, this attitude does not befit you. You cannot just sit down in this Ranabhumi. Let go of all this Shudram, Hriday Daurbalyam, all these weak-minded emotions that you have from your heart. You should let it go. No strong man, Uttishta Parantapa. Fight this great war. This is the chance that you have. Go, get up, do your duty, do the best you can. You should do what you are supposed to do. And then Bhagavan uses his harsh words. Even sometimes in our life, sometimes situations happen where it gives us such difficult situations arise, harsh circumstances arise, but they are also for us to make us realize, because with this realization, Arjuna would hear this divine knowledge, this Atma Gnana from none other than Shri Krishna himself. And this was a wonderful circumstance for Arjuna. So similarly, we also need to understand that such harsh circumstances come in our life to bring us some lesson that we need to learn and carry on. And then in the second adhyaya later, Bhagavan tells Arjuna that Yadruchaya Chopapannam, whatever comes to you as God's wish, Yadruchaya, just by chance, just by luck, just by destiny, whatever comes to you is going to open the gates of heaven for you. So is this kind of battle comes only to very lucky warriors. Oh Arjuna, you must fight this war. So sometimes something may be against our wish, but if it has come to us, we can accept it, we can embrace it and get the best out of it. And it is our pride which blurs our wise intellect. It shows that there is an illusion, and that's what Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells in this shloka. It says all the actions are performed within the three gunas of the nature, the sattva, rajas and the tamas. But ahankara vimudhatma, the person who thinks that he is identified just because of his pride, is identified with this body, mind, sense complex. Karta aham iti manyate, believes that I am the doer. In reality, we don't discriminate who I am in reality, and that's why we mix all this Atma, Anatma, everything gets mixed, and we don't know whom really we are, and that's why we get affected, associated, attached to this limited complex of ours, and then that's how we behave. So pride is a kind of ego booster which we should always remember, and God is showing us the solution to this. He shows us a different understanding, a different worldview, which can help us to bring our pride under control. He says, look, Arjuna, I am the seed of all intelligence, all the glory. Know always that I am the bija, mam sarva bhutanam, I am the source of everything. I am the intellect of the intelligence, all these natural intelligence that you see everywhere, human intelligence, natural intelligence. I am that intellect behind that intelligence. Teja tejasvinan aham. I am the glory behind all the brilliant, successful people. Don't boast about your success. Just see that behind all this that is seen, that is felt, the divinity of Bhagavan is the one who is after this, behind this. Yet chapi sarva bhutanam bijam. Again he says that I am the bija, I am the seed. Just like a seed and the tree are inseparable. Similarly, Bhagavan tells that God and the world are completely inseparable. They are part and parcel, the same divine manifestation of the Lord. And he says there is nothing in this world, either living or non-living, which is separate from me. And then he shows that in the 10th Adhyaya, which is a Vibhuti Yoga, where Bhagavan shows all his Vibhutis, all his manifestations, where we can see him. He says finally that all these manifestations that I have told you, Arjuna, they are limitless. There is no end to my divine manifestations. Whatever I have told you, Arjuna, is only one part of the it's the plan. It is, nobody can describe this completely, my divine manifestations. And that's why he says that just see me everywhere, try to see me everywhere. Wherever you see any glory, any prosperity, any wealth, any success, any enthusiasm, any great energy, positive energy, see that energy, understand that it originates from one small part of my own powers, my own teja, mama tejonsha sambhavam. It arises from my own powers, a small part of my powers that energy comes from. And we need to understand this clearly. If we understand this, then we will not have those kind of arrogance, that kind of pride that we want to do everything our way. Or he says, Athava bahunaitena ki jnatena tava Arjuna. Oh Arjuna, know more than what more you will benefit. Understand, the summary is that I behold this entire universe by just one part of my being, of my existence, of my, my tattva. And whatever we see in this world, see me everywhere. That is what ultimately the divine vision is. That is what we need to understand. And then in the 16th Adhyaya, Bhagavan talks about his own Asuri Sampati. He says, there are Devi Sampati and there are Asuri Sampati. And O Arjuna, these are the people who are born of demonical or Asuri Sampati: hypocrisy, Dambha, Darpa, pride, ego, Abhiman, and all this Parushya, anger, Krodha, all this harshness are the Asuri Sampati. We need to understand that whatever we do to force our way, either sometimes we resort to harshness, violence, anger, pride, hypocrisy. All this is ultimately Asuri Sampati. And Bhagavan does not want us to have Asuri Sampati. He wants us to have Daivi Sampati, which is said in the first 3 shlokas of the 16th Adhyaya. He says, Abhayam Sattva Shuddhi Gnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. He has talked about all the Daivi Sampati, and Agnana, ignorance, is the common denominator of all this Asuri Sampati: Kama, Krodha, Moda, Mada, Moha, Lobha, Mata, Matsarya. All these are the Asuri Sampatis within us. So what is the biggest obstacle for us? This pride, this ahankara. It works very, very, it works in such a way that we don't even understand how it works. And Bhagavan says, Machittaha. He shows the solution how we can dissolve this ahankara by devotion to the Lord. He says, Machittaha mat prasada, those who is devoted to me with my grace, Sarva Durgani Tarishyati, will cross all these difficulties, all these obstacles like the pride, ego, ahankara. It's only possible by devotion and the grace of the Lord. Atatvam ahankarat. If, however, due to your egotism or your pride, nasroshyasi, if you don't listen to me, O Arjuna, vinakshyasi, then you will be ruined, you will be perished, you will not be able to achieve the highest goal of your life, and you will go to adhugati. That's why don't have this ahankara or this pride. This false pride or mithyabhimana does not allow us to see the reality, the big picture, the truth that Shri Krishna is talking about. And when this pride dissolves by devotion, by bhakti, there is the purity of our mind, and then only we can understand this divine knowledge that Shri Krishna is talking about in Bhagavad Gita. And again, in the 18th Adhyaya, when Shri Krishna is summarizing everything, he says, if you take shelter of your pride, Arjuna, and if you say Nayotsya, I will not fight according to your choice, what you want to say, then it is a mithya yesha vyavasaya. It is a purposeless endeavor. It is not worth doing. Your decision is wrong. Your nishchay, because prakrutim tvam niyokshati. Your nature, your dispositions, your attributes are so strong that they'll inspire you into this battle. And this is because we have very strong samskaras. The impressions are there, and this will all push us into this kind of a battle. Kshatriya, Arjuna is a Kshatriya. He has this samskara of war. And that's why he just cannot go and sit in the battlefield and not fight this war. In the 18th shloka, again, Bhagavan describes who is that sattvic person, sattvic karta, one who is, this is the sattvic karta. He says, mukta sangha, is not attached to his karma phala, his kartrutva, his egoness, ahankara, pride. All this, when is not kartrutva sangha, is not there, that person is a sattvic person. Anahamvadi, Bhagavan says, one who does all the actions without pride, gratitude, and shares the success with everyone, does it with a nimitta bhava, that I am the instrument in the hands of the Lord. Everything God is making me do this, whatever I'm doing. If that is the kind of attitude, that is a sattvic person. Dhruti Utsaha Samanvitaha, with lot of dhruti and utsaha, pride and patience and enthusiasm, and Siddhi Asiddhi Nirvikaraha, and a person remains unperturbed, serene in success, failure, in profit, loss, in all these dualities, the dvandvas of our life, and accepts whatever comes to us as a prasada buddhi. Bhagavan says that this person is a sattvic person. A sattvic person is a karma yogi, because this is the first goal that Bhagavan wants us to start as we go into this journey. So coming to the end of this session, to summarize, uh, Duryodhana had all this pride, arrogance to begin with, because of which this battle was fought. The underlying causes were also the moha of Dhritarashtra, and all, he says, all Badarthe Takta Jivita, all of them have given their life for me. But Bhagavan sometimes says some harsh words. How do you manage to get the despair? And don't be so unmanly, O Arjuna. And these harsh circumstances do come in our life to wake us up from the slumber that we are in. And then Yadurchaya Chopapannam, we need to remember that whatever comes to us by the God's wish, by the nature's wish, by grace, we may call it by luck, by chance or destiny, whatever we call it, we should accept it and we should do our best in that situation rather than forcing our way into it. Karta aham iti manyate, falsely believes most of us that I am the doer, and Bhagavan is telling us that I behold this entire universe with the yoga energy by just one part of myself, and that is what we need to understand, that this divinity is everywhere. We need to merge with the universal consciousness, and that is only possible when we dissolve our ego, our ahankara, our pride, and merge with this universal consciousness. So I pray my gratitude to the Ishvara, with whose grace everything is possible, to this Guru Shishya Parampara, with whose grace this knowledge is protected, preserved, and transmitted. I pray my respects to my Guruji, Pujya Guruma, with whose grace I am able to learn the scriptures and share this understanding with you. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parah Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.